hey, how's everyone?
Well, we've been
Right.
talking about your book.
Okay, I hope it's good.
We were going to start the top of this section talking about the giveaway with
Oh,
but you're
okay.
yeah, for the book club. So what we'd like to do is Sharon is going to pick a number between 1 and 100. She's going to send it to Kaz. So those of you here, we're going to do it right here right now. So send your guess between 1 and 100 also to Kaz.
This is
And
going to you, right? Okay.
and then there will be, yeah, another one happening when the YouTube comes out after. Yeah. So
That'll
that's,
be an audiobook because the audiobook is officially in review status,
oh, that's awesome. Yay.
but that's a process and it can take a long time.
Okay. First thing that came up is let's talk about the gorgeous cover and the artwork.
Mm,
Sharon, talk a little bit about that. I know you love
right?
your work.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Taylor and I, we have this amazing creative relationship. She's a fan artist. And so I found her actually through a um a tarot deck that she did for a TV show called Winona Earp. I'm a huge fan. Saw that, and I had been doing this project where I did something new for 365 consecutive days, which the bow and arrow and the setup that I made was part of that experience. And so when I was looking for a cover for the book, because I wrote a book about that year, I wanted something that was kind of collage style to encompass 365 experiences. And so I saw Taylor, I saw her art. She's done things for the National Forest Service, stuff for sports teams. Like she's done some incredible um, stuff not related to books. So I emailed her from her website. I'm like, hey, I'm doing this thing. I need an artist. What do you think? And um, and she's like, yeah, I'll give it a try. Like, send me your top 40. I'm like, okay, I got 365 things I can send you. So she did this. You can see the cover. It's up on Amazon. But she did this amazing collage of my personal experiences. And so um that's where our creative relationship started, and it was so beautiful. And and if you ever get to look at on Amazon, you can see the front and the back because Taylor does a full spread. So when we do cover art, it's the front is cover is story artwork and the back is story artwork. So it goes all the way around the book. Cond, which was um a finalist for two Goldies, that cover art, you really have to see the front and the back to really get the story of the story. So that's how I found Taylor. Taylor and I have done, this is our 11th cover together. So I will always publish independently so I can keep using Taylor's art. I just think it's gorgeous. And this one, okay, there's a quick story. I mean, all right, it's not quick. So originally the back cover, which is Isolde and the Wolf, originally that was the front of the book. And Taylor sent me when she started to do the coloring, because it's always line art and it's blue. And when she started to do the coloring, she sent me the front, the Archer, Rosabelle. And I was sad. I was like, oh my God, that's gorgeous, but that's not back cover art. That's front cover art. And so I'm like, okay, so I emailed her and I'm like, Taylor, how hard would it be for you to like flip the front to the back and the back to the front? How hard would that be? She's like, I mean, I could do it, but, and so it ultimately that became the front of the book. And like, I think intuition and all that, it's the right thing because it is it really is Rosabelle's story, ultimately told from her perspective, or I guess mostly. There's a whole other story there. But yeah, okay, that's cover.
Gorgeous, gorgeous cover. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy with it.
Um, Jess, you want me to go ahead with the next question?
Yes, please. I've just coughed my face off.
Okay. So the next question we have from Jodelle is, how did you decide to write your first novel?
Okay. First novel. So that's Mark with Maker. Um, so I was on a retreat. And okay, so first, my son and I are blacksmiths. We've been blacksmithing together for 13 years. And I was on a retreat and I got this idea for like a lady blacksmith. And I love fantasy. I love, making up magical worlds and whatever. And I thought it would be really, really cool if like she could forge magical things. And so as a blacksmith, you kind of know what does and doesn't work in the blacksmithing world. And um, for Wildwood in that first book, um, it was really meant to be kind of a standalone. Uh, but as the magic of the series progresses, I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. It's kind of fun to fumble around in the magic world and see what the kind of trouble they can get in figuring out how their magic works. And then like, I don't know. Fantasy is fun that way because you get to make it all up as you go along, and all you really have to do is keep track of who did what, when, and where. And that's what Scrivener is for. So I don't even know. Did I answer your question?
That actually leads into another question we got from Elise. Have you always been drawn to this particular genre?
I don't actually think so. I think because I do like I have a kind of a balance of contemporary and fantastical, romantasy, whatever. But I think it's easier to write fantasy because you don't have to really fact check. So, like, if I want Wildwood's hammer to be magical, I just figure out how to make it magical. I don't there's no research there. So it's kind of easier to do if you don't mind inventing shit. So, and I think that, and then I mean, come on, Behind the Eyes, it's the story that needed to be Sapphic. It's so romantic. The that, what wouldn't you do for love kind of idea. So, yeah. So there you go. I don't know. Like you guys, I don't know. You got to check me because I'll just ramble on and on and on. And I don't even know if I'm answering your questions anymore.
You're setting us up because I've got
Okay,
another
great. Oh, see? Oh, that's totally working out for you.
from Rachel Chapman. What is it about Ladyhawk that spoke to you so deeply that you actually wanted to make a Sapphic version?
Okay, so I love this. The film came to be at a time in my life when it was very hard for me. And so just personally, I love that love that, you would do anything for, you climb mountain for, cross seas for, whatever. And I think like this is that story. Like these two have no chance of really ever being together in their world, but they're still doing everything they possibly can be to have a connection. And I just think that, wow, like what's more romantic than that for a romance writer? I mean, this story just, and of course, like then make it sapphic and then put a really capable, butchy archery sword slinging woman in there. I mean, like it's delicious. And so there you have it. Behind the Eyes.
So it wasn't just Michelle Pfeiffer in her heyday.
I mean, look, if you go back to some of the original artwork, that's not photography, but is actual like art, hand done art. Some of those early sketches, yeah, come on, with the short cropped hair and yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Nope. Have you got any more?
Sure. How about what drew you to the medieval era overall?
Um, I mean, I've always like been very King Arthur, Robin Hood. I mean, Robin Hood, that's a great story. I don't know. I think it's easier, I mean, in a complicated way, but like swords and solving your problems with a nice little sword fight and an arrow to the heart, like it's not complicated, the world is I don't know, it just lends towards romance. You have to be involved. You can't, text somebody or hit them up on the phone and say, hey, you got to like ride a horse and, you know, send a letter with the break the seal. I don't know what the hell.
Simplicity of the ultimate
It's
death.
not, yeah, it's not complicated. You get to, or you can make it complicated, I guess, if you spin it this way.
Jen Lyon actually said, I understand you once made a bow, fletched an arrow, and shot a flaming arrow off said bow. Is
Yes, I
that true?
did.
Are you that much of a badass?
I don't know about badassery, but that was part of that 365-day thing. So my son and I worked as blacksmiths for the Renaissance Festival, and he's been part of the Ren Fair family for almost as long as he's been blacksmithing. And so he worked as a bowyer for almost 3 years. And when I was doing this experience, I went to Ohio, and the bowyer and I spent a whole day making the bow. I have the bow. I own it. I actually own the bow. And then the next day, my son taught me how to fletch arrows. And like, would I have wanted to do that otherwise? I don't know, maybe, but the opportunity came to be. So yes, I have indeed. And then, of course, who wouldn't make a flaming arrow and shoot it from said bow? Of course, I would do that. There's a whole like I made a YouTube channel and I did this whole blogging thing every single day for 365 consecutive days. And so I'm pretty sure that the bow making has some video. It might just have still shots, um, but ultimately, what I wanted to do was I wanted to like light a big giant bonfire with a flaming arrow. Like that's like fantasy world come to life, right? And it never really happened because I'm really shitty with a bow, and B, like we ran out of like big spectacular things to do. My mom got very ill during that whole experience, so it kind of threw me off from doing some of those bigger things. But yes is the answer. I did those cool.
Where did you shoot the flaming arrow to? What did you hit?
So it was so I built a little target and it was probably maybe 15 yards away and I missed it. But it was on fire and it did flame through the air until it hit the thing that wasn't technically the target, but I have a kind of big backyard. So I have a big backyard. So we set up a target for it and we did some testing of like what kind of things to use so that once you shoot it, it actually stays aflame. So there was a lot of science involved in that whole process, but it was absolutely a ton of fun and definitely gonna have to do that whole light 'em on fire trick.
That's so cool. Did that whole experience, like making the bow, nearly setting your neighbor's house on fire, I'm assuming, um, did that come into play with Bylin's there was a scene in the book where Bylin is learning how to shoot a bow and or an arrow, don't shoot the bow, but the arrow, and nearly rips her arm off. Did that
Yeah,
all
yeah.
come?
If you've ever been an inexperienced person to shoot a bow, you would probably have left a giant big old bruise on your forearm from the bowstring, which is not honestly not uncommon, and why you put a bracer on, which I did not do. But if you look in the picture, because I posted a picture of it the other day, I did actually roll my hoodie sleeve up and over the bow handle because I have a tendency. But yes, it is a thing, and it happens a lot when you're learning how to use a bow, and also the fletching can really cut through the skin. It does have a sharpness to it when it's coming off your hand. So there's a lot of technique. It's not as simple. And I would never say I'm any kind of expert, but I have learned from the experience that it can be kind of painful.
I've got a couple questions, Jamie. Is that
Go
okay?
for it. Yes, it's
Um,
perfect.
I've got a question here. Um, why did you choose the multiple points of view that you did?
So when I was doing this, because it's a retelling, and I'm not shy about saying it's a retelling, I really wanted to, because I think it's the way that it was constructed for the film. I think it's like the perfect way to tell the story. I think you get an idea of how each person is living this curse. And like even the person who curses them is living the curse. It is not benefiting from the curse the way he thought he did or would. And so I just think shifting between all of these characters until their lives tangle together, I think is a great way to connect to each character. And I think they each um, bring a little bit to the story that makes that love component richer.
Did you
We
have
can
a
definitely.
favorite character that you wrote?
So I don't know that I have a favorite. I think Bylan is fun and gives you a little bit of I don't want to say comic relief because I don't think it's comedic more than like lightens a really dark mood or tough mood, um, between the light and the dark of existing. I'll tell you that just to throw in a little bit from the audiobook as we were working through um the recordings and editing, I kept telling Jesse, I wish I'd written more dialogue for Isolde because the way she's narrating Isolde is really, really beautiful. And there's an elegance to the sound of her voice that brings a depth to the character that even I didn't like feel until the audiobook. So I'm very, very excited for people to hear the audiobook because I think she did such a great job of bringing Isolde. So I kind of have a little crush on Isolde now with the audio that plays in my ear. But I
Mhm.
also really like how powerful Rosabelle is in maintaining all of them and being the leader of this weird cursed life. So all of them.
Do you have, on the heels of that, do you have actresses in mind that you would want to play the parts of Isolde and Rasa? And
I don't. And I don't know. Look, I love oh shit. Why can't I think of her name? The Lily Blackstone.
Mhm.
I love her style. I love how thick she is in her personality. Like she's just so casually kind of butch, but not hard in the way she presents. And so I love her for Wildwood too, but I think she could play a really good Rosabelle. With the I don't know if anybody's familiar with her stuff, but if you watch her stuff, she just did a mini series on, is it maybe Apple TV or Prime? I can't remember. Where she plays a cop, and it's just, oh, it's so good. Anyway, yeah, her. I don't know about Isolde though. I'd have to think about that one. Who's got ideas?
Well, now I want to hear the voice first and get that
Oh,
vibe. I'm sure anyway, I'll have to listen. I can't wait for the audiobook. I'm excited about that.
I'm so excited.
That's a great job on your books.
When can we expect it?
Audio?
Yeah.
Hopefully Friday, hopefully Valentine's Day. I'm crossing my fingers. It's in review right now, and that usually takes 10 days, and it was submitted on the 6th. So we'll do the math on that and hope for 8 days instead of 10. Right, right. It'll be Audible. It's gonna be Audible, and then because they're just easier. Sorry for everybody who can't get Audible.
Mhm, mhm. And what's next for you?
Right now, I am working on 2 projects pretty solidly. I'm working on the sequel to Cond, which will be the second Rage Room romance. And I'm working on what is probably going to be a novella in between Double Dino and You'll Be Home for Solstice, an Alice and Violet story. And it's called Pocket Rock. And it's kind of the evolution of the red stone that they find in the river during Double Dino, and it comes up in You'll Be Home for Solstice too. So it's going to be just a fun little uh novella. Hopefully, I can stretch it. I've got other things going, but they're not enough to have anybody asking for.
I've
I'm looking
got
forward to the Rage Room sequel. That'll be fun.
I've got a
Yeah.
question connected to what you'll do next. Do you think we'll get a sequel to do with Bylin? Like she deserves her happy ending.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't even considered that. That'd be kind of fun to see what kind of shenanigans she gets up to. Maybe meet a barmaid somewhere or find herself a cute little guard from the armory. I don't know.
A
I don't
combination.
know. I mean, as an author, I should never say no because you just never know what's going to come out of your brain.
I start whispering in your ear.
Does it
Voices
feel like
mine.
does it feel like the characters actually talk to you to lead the story? Because we've
Oh,
had a
I
few
think for
do that.
me, yeah. I mean, like Behind the Eyes, I feel like that was kind of different in as far as developing stories go, but definitely and sometimes they're like at 3 a.m. talking to you and you're like, okay, here we go. So those are the fun moments to when the story comes like that. Yeah, that's exciting because sometimes I'm not really feeling like maybe I should just put some words down because I don't write really in order ever. So I just kind of put it on the page and then kind of sort it out. It's like Double Dino, I didn't write any of that in order. It just like chapter to chapter, I just kind of, oh, I feel like we should go fishing today. And so I wrote the fishing and then, oh, where's that going to fit in this story? And then you kind of tie it all in together. So it's a different, for me, a little bit different process because nothing is ever chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. I don't write like that.
So are you more of a pantster than a plotter?
I am. I always start out kind of pantsy, and then you have to at some point kind of put something down so that your storytelling tells a story and isn't just like shit falling out of your brain. But yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot the question.
Hamster or plotter, you answered
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah. No, okay. So I like for book 3 and 4 of the series of the Maker series, those were very plotted because there was so much backstory I had to keep track of. And so and lots of little magical details that I really needed to keep in order. So, and I had a whole dry erase board on my wall, and I had the whole thing and the town of Bannock all drawn out in a map, and I had it everywhere. And then when I started working on Cond, like I had to wash that dry erase board all off. It was kind of a sad day. I actually took pictures because it was kind of a sad day. But yeah, so I guess it just depends on where I'm at in a project. The sequel to Cond is does have a pretty decent plan of attack, but I will tell you that the convention in the sequel is going to be themed around Lego, which is my absolute obsession. And
Oh,
so that is going to make its way. I've been to a couple of Lego conventions as research for this next project. So just to throw that out there. Heavy into research.
only research. That's yeah.
Absolutely only.
And how long did I have a question in the chat? How long did it take you to write Behind the Eyes?
Okay, so Behind the Eyes, I started in when was conference? July, right? I started it just after coming back from the conference. I already knew what I wanted for cover, so Taylor started working on the cover right away because I find having art inspirational for writing. So we worked on the cover right away. I mean, the original sketches, my sketches, are not at all what Taylor came up with. But yeah. So I mean, what is that? 6 months? That's the
Oh,
quickest. That's the quickest project. But honestly, as a retelling, um, I'm not going to say it was easy, but it was easier because I really tried to stay true to Ladyhawk in because I think it's just a brilliantly told story. And so a lot of the obviously the Isolde and Rosabelle interactions are all um, from my brain, but a lot of the other story aspects are kind of stuck to what was there because I just so that made it, I think, a little less complex.
I'm just aware of the time.
Oh,
Is there anything else that you would like for us to know before we announce the winner of the giveaway and
I've
start one?
actually got another question here. This is
Sorry,
my
Jen.
last. Sorry, I want to make sure that I get to say it because they put it in the form and um I feel like it's respectful. Sorry.
I'm here.
Uh, do you have a Razabelle? Like, have you ever had a Razabelle or hot for teacher?
Not for teacher. Oh man. I don't know that like as far as like the teacher cliche kind of trope, I don't because my like education experience is like I mean my degree is in law enforcement, and so all of the teachers in the academy were dudes, really old dudes. So not hot for those teachers. Actually, I was like one of 3 women in the program at the time. So I'll tell you, it was a while ago. But hot for teacher. I'm sorry, I gotta have to think about that one because I don't, nothing just pops into my head.
Fair enough. And one final question. We asked this for all of our authors. If you were to be stuck on a desert island with any of your characters from all of your books, who would you pick and why?
Wow. Okay, because I write pretty capable characters. Like everybody's got a really good skill set. I'm gonna pick, I mean, like Rosabelle would be a good choice because she's really resourceful, but also Alice from Double Dino is is kind of cool because she's got like okay, maybe a combo of those. Can I have two? Can I take two?
Sure, why
Can I
not?
take
Sure does
two
that.
hot butches with me to the island? That's my choice. Probably Rosabelle first and then Alice. Because, I mean, who doesn't want bows and arrows? And I mean, does she get to bring stuff?
Very capable.
Right? Who doesn't like that? I mean, come on.
All the
Oh,
questions.
amazing. Thank you so much. Jamie, I'm going to pass it over to you for the giveaway.
All righty. Sharon, thank you so much for being with us and for the giveaway for today. And ready, drum roll. I wish I had a thing to do that with, but drum roll. And Sharon's number was 13, and Jen Lyon actually nailed it and picked 13.
Well,
Okay, I just have to say that 13 is my lucky number. I don't cheat. Okay, I'm done.
13 is a lucky number. It's a great
It's
number.
the best
It
number.
is.
It's
It is.
not
Absolutely.
my
I agree
fault that
100%.
you like my lucky number. It's not my fault, Sharon.
All right,
we've
Jeff.
also got a giveaway too for the actual YouTube video for when it
That'll be
actually
that'll be
posts.
an audiobook.
Yes.
Yes. I think we're gonna win. We're gonna do a post when Kaz does her magic.
If you watch this YouTube and you send us an email to Sapphic World Book Club at gmail.com saying, I want the audiobook, and you're the fifth, then it's yours.
Ooh.
But time it right. Right.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much for coming. Our next book club is going to be Alicia. And that's going to be on the 15th of March.
Alicia Gale for Murder, Mayhem, and Sex on the Beach. If y'all want to get the book and get ready for that on March 15th.
Yeah.
Shuffle that to be read pile around.
And thank you so much for joining us, Sharon. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye.